you get an insight and you know something, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you. But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
Memories.
Esports trying to find the angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a wall. We're gonna deflect. See White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
Beast Mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh. Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Saga 4 is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick on the Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. That is just to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the ace? They get the ace.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another night of CGL. A very exciting matchup here as we are now in the NA Masters division here in the winners winner. I think it's winners finals. But I am your host and co-caster tonight, Mega Ninja 44, joined by Shadowfang 2. A very exciting one. This is not an elimination match. This one just guarantees a grand final slot. Shadow, are you as excited for this one as I am?
I am. The Masters tier has been like our most competitive tier all season. It's our biggest tier. We have so many teams coming in and competing so hard. And Choose Production Crew, we definitely expected to see here. They've been top team in the tier all season. Aura Fury, bit of a surprise though. They had to go through some upsets. You can see right there exactly what I was talking about. Look at how big this bracket is. Our game right there, you can see it up there in the top. That's going to be Choose Production. Aura Fury. Shoes has kind of had a little bit of a struggle with Blackout Eclipse on their way here, but overall been really, really dominant. Aura Fury has had to beat both Dire Triggers and Unwoke Yaoi Enthusiasts, two top teams in this tier to make it this far, so they are no slouches.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at just the seeding, and Aura Fury coming in the number 6 seed, one of the lower seeds in this tier, and Shoes Production Crew, of course, number 1. I mean, they haven't lost a match in quite some time. I think when was the last time they lost? They lost to Unwoke Yaoi Enthusiast in round 3 back in March. So it has definitely been a minute since they have seen defeat. But Aura Fury looking to upset them yet again, upset for the 3rd time in this. Actually, I think it's the 4th time. So Aura Fury have a lot to prove. They've done it so far, but can they push it even further against Shoes Production Crew? We'll have to find out tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a really tough ask for Aura Fury, but I mean, they're up to the task. It's taken 5 maps every other time so far, so they're going to definitely try and push Shoes as much as they can. Looks like we do have that map pick in from Shoes Production Crew, and to everybody's surprise, we're all surprised Pikachu right now. We're going to Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, Lijiang has been the tried and true of pretty much every single tier that we've been able to cover here on CGL. I genuinely think that maybe I've seen like a Nepal once, maybe a Busan, like in the back of my mind, but a lot of the times it has just been Lijiang as the starting map. It's a map that everybody is comfortable with. Everybody has scrimmed it plenty of times. They know what to run. They know how to counter things. They know how to rotate. It's just a textbook map to start off a series. I wouldn't have it any other way for this first map.
Yeah, I feel very similarly. It's the stock standard, the tried and true map number 1 to start off any playoff series with. It's either, well, we don't have Helios as an option. That would be like the other one if teams were ever trying to opt for that style of composition. But I expect these teams are going to be going for like the Orisa, Ramatra style things. So I don't know where your head is at on this comp, on where these comps might go, though.
Yeah, it is going to be kind of interesting to see what they take off the board here. I do believe it's Aura Fury that have the first ban because Shoes Production Crew got to choose the map. So we'll have to find out what they want to take off the map. What are your thoughts about the current meta? It's definitely been changing up a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been watching OWCS or not. I did watch Korea last night, and I did watch Cat Bastion on a lot of maps where they weren't banned out. I saw a little bit of Mauga, and so I just want to wonder, we've been talking so much about how Diva's strong, Zarya compositions are strong, but what are your thoughts about the current meta?
Yeah, I'm in a spot where I think that composition is, I think it's too difficult to pull off for us to see it in these sorts of tiers because like even in my game I casted the other night, Iliad Artemis attempted to run that composition and they got absolutely rolled when they tried to, so they had to go back to something that was more stock standard with like that Orisa or that Ramatra. So that's more where I'm expecting these teams to go tonight. Or Fury going to get this first ban right here. I'm gonna guess they ban out like an Orisa maybe, or a Ramatra. Headrammer is really aggressive on that Orisa, and I think it might be, oh, okay. Headrammer does play a good bit of that Mauga as well, so that actually makes sense.
Yeah, getting rid of that Malga. One of the tanks that has been seeing more of the light of day in recent times. Definitely been able to see it come through, and on a certain occasion. So taking that off the board, a smart move. But now Shu's production going to be able to take the damage or support off the board. Of course, Kiri Lucio still that tried and true backline. But if you're not running that, if you do want to run that Cat Bastion, I do see that backline being Cat and Ana. That could be something that they look at if they are scared of that composition. But of course, like you said, this is the Masters tier. It is a little difficult to run that composition. So maybe they do want to stick to the more classic Kiri Lucio. They run an Emre and a Tracer. So Shu's production has some options on the table. They can take care of one of those strong hit scans like an Emre or a Soj. Look at that as flex DPS. Like I think Pharah is incredibly strong on Lijiang. Look at Tracer potentially. There are so many different options for what these teams can ban out. As we'll just have to find out here in just a moment. 0 seconds left on the board. It's a Pharah ban. Okay, Pharah is going to be the option taken off the board. I think that's a smart ban.
Well, and, it's like I say other times when I'm discussing like map 1, a lot of times it's not even necessarily like this is a thing that's really going to hinder us per se. It's we would rather not have to deal with this if we don't have to, right? It's not that we can't deal with it, it's that why would we want to have to deal with it if we're not going to play it, right? And I don't see Shu's production crew playing that Pharah, so they're under that impression where they're just like, I don't want to have to shoot this Pharah out of the air constantly all game.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both have pretty similar positions on when it comes to our first map bans. Just kind of, we like to call it feeler bans, right? We like to dip our toes in the water with the bans. We take out something that they could run, just kind of see what they want to run out on. If it's a more conventional composition with that Malga ban, we'll probably be seeing the Diva or the Zarya, right? But they kind of get a feel of what the other opponents would like to run if they haven't, maybe done as much research, and just kind of see from there, how they want to respond, how they want to do bans in the future. But speaking of teams, we can look at our lineups now. I think we're all good. Okay, we're good for good lineups. We'll look at Shu's production crew just really quickly. Of course, Hippie and Bowsy on the support line, Husky and Danik on the DPS line, and then Headrammer, of course, on that tank. Very, very cool to see some of these producers playing here today. I haven't been able to cast this team yet. I'm very excited to.
Yes, so something to note, Headrammer, Husky, and Danik all played together on a team for probably about like 6 years straight, I believe, on a team called Kinetics, so all very familiar with each other. And then it's really Headrammer, Hippie, and Bowsy are like our production people that we work with, very, very consistently. So, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Headrammer, going to be playing tank for us tonight. One of the most aggro tank players I think I have ever seen, quite honestly.
Yeah, but now we can take a look at the side of Aura Fury, I believe. I do want to talk really quickly before we go to Aura Fury. I do want to talk really quickly about these preferred heroes because I don't think I've ever seen somebody prefer Mitsuki. Do you think that there's a world that comes out?
I have not seen Hippie play anything but Kiriko for the entire time that I have ever casted Shu's production crew.
Okay.
So there's a possibility that it happens, but I've never seen. So something that's interesting about Shu's production crew is, technically speaking, Headrammer, Hippie, and Bowsy are all support mains. So they're all just like, and they're all, I believe Hippie is more of a main support player. Headrammer tends to be a flex support player. So they're technically off-rolling in a sense right now. So that has made a lot of this very fascinating. But something you'll notice when you do get to watch this team is that Hippie will heave a Suzu across the entire map just to allow Headrammer to continue existing in the opposing team's backline.
Yeah, but now we could take a look at the side of Aura Fury. We have that lineup here. It's going to be ACS on that Ramatra, Peabok and Barudi on that backline, and then Blank and Wicked on the DPS. Very exciting to see how this matchup, this lineup will be able to do against Shu's production crew. Remember, this is the number 6 seed. Expectations for them are low, but they
winning in 3-0 fashion. Again, they did that to like basically every team in the tier, so that's like it's like almost a moot point, honestly, because it kind of just happened to most of the teams. So, but this is a different Aura Fury now. We are, like 2 months removed from week 3 of the season. So I definitely expect to see Aura Fury come out very strong tonight, probably on this Ramatra style composition too. That might actually be the main reason that they banned out the Mauga, because Mauga can just kind of roll over Ramatra.
Yeah, Malga's in a really good spot right now. I'd like to think about, there's not really much in terms of the tank besides maybe the Diva or the Sigma that really counters out that Malga. I guess you could maybe run like an Orisa or something, use gold to stop those critical hits from hitting, but it's going to be so difficult to play into that Malga a lot of the times. And so having that ban on the table automatically allows you to play kind of, your tank options are a little bit more varied and wide, as we do get to take a look at our player cans today. There's Hippie, there's Headhammer. Hello guys. They can't hear me right now, but it'd be kind of funny if they could. And blank down there, of course. So both of these teams gonna be... Oh, where's Dan? I don't know where Dan went, but both of these teams gonna be ready and excited to get on into this match. Are you excited, Shadow? This is guaranteeing a grand final spot for one of these teams, and the other ones get sent down into that lower bracket.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a huge. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be a huge match here tonight. But we are starting off here. Looks like the horse coming out from the side of Shoes production crew. Going to be going against Aura Fury on this Zarya. No. Okay. Ramatra Reaper style, which should be fascinating. Danik and Husky looking like they're going to be playing the Tracer and the Echo. So we got like double flex going up against a double hit scan, which ought to be interesting. Never mind, Husky on the Sojourn. I kind of like Shoes production crew's comp a little bit better here. It's just a little bit more standard.
Yeah, or if you're going to be running a P-Bach on that Baptista, definitely more of a niche pick. That Kiriko is just so much better a lot of the times, but we'll have to find out as they're going to be meeting each other on that dojo side, looking for any kinds of picks automatically. Headhammer taking a lot of damage, going to have to split out for the time being as Husky's taken down first. That's a really nice early pick here for the side of Aura Fury. They're looking to push for more as Danik in that backline trying to find some kind of value, but not able to do so far. The rest of Shoes production crew still alive, still well, so they are going to be able to rotate to the point. They could potentially go for that first flip, except Headhammer's off of the board. It's a 3v5 situation. There goes Bowsy, and that's going to be a reset for Shoes production crew as Aura Fury take the first cap.
Yep, getting that early kill onto Husky was key right there. You really can't do much if you're Shoes production crew without that Sojourn being alive. Blank doing a lot of work right now, already 70% on this Deadeye, and that's going to be the problem. Dan's going to have a real difficult time getting in on this Tracer with that Cassidy available.
Yeah, a lot of pressure already as the Shoes production crew going to be rotating around to this white side. Already a lot of cooldowns utilized from the side of Headhammer, taking a lot of damage. Going to have to back out for the time being, but this Ramatra may be too deep. There's the nice immortality field in order to keep everybody alive, but both these tanks are dead. Husky taken off the board. High Noon from Blank is good. Bowsy next off of the board, and so now it's a 4v2 situation. Wicked's able to get another cleanup onto Dan, and now it's just a Kiriko looking to get a trade, and they might be able to, but no. Wicked's there for the 3-piece, and that's another fight win for the side of Aura Fury.
Yeah, good consecutive fights going the way of Aura Fury right there. I think the big thing is no pressure is really able to be gotten on those DPSs of Aura Fury. They're just kind of sitting there and just poking Headhammer down so early. You're going to have to get some pressure laid in onto those 2-hit scans.
Override protocol coming out from Wicked. Already taken incredibly low, taken out of the board actually, but Baruti, good for a trade. Getting both of those hit scans off of the board, but Blank is still alive and still doing a lot of damage. Headhammer taking all the damage in the world, has to use their cooldowns. The beat is available for Bowsy, but they might not want to pop it. There's the Annihilation, and Husky's able to get the kill onto Baruti there. So Aura Fury committing a couple of ults here, but they need to get some kills. There's the Terror Surge from Headhammer, not able to find anything, but P-Bach is down. Headhammer's next to fall, and so right now it's looking like an even back and forth exchange, except Wicked is able to get the kill onto Hippie, Dan is able to get the trade onto Blank, and so now it's a back and forth between these Lucios. Wicked is able to get the kill onto Dan as well, and now ACS trying their absolute best to stay alive. It can't really for the time being, 90% and counting. Oh, and Husky's taken down. I don't know if there's going to be a touch here for Shoes production crew.
It does look like Bowsy does just manage to get that touch, but will there be a second touch? And there does indeed become a second touch. Beat does come in from Baruti right there.
Yeah, but Headhammer's already off of the board. There goes Hippie. Husky gets a nice dragon kill, but Bowsy's dead off of the board. And so now it's just the Emre and the Baptiste, but they're not going to be fast enough. In the first round is going to go the Aura Fury, a 100-0, a very strong start.
Yeah, really good job there from Aura Fury. They're really just shutting down Dan's Tracer with that Cassidy. I think that was really the big thing. Dan is usually able to just run around for free on that Tracer, and when you basically what Aura Fury turned it into was like a poke battle, and Headrammer's going to lose out that poke battle because he can't just deny so much damage like that Ramatra can on the Orisa. And so that's really just the overall thing that I saw right there. You're in a poke battle. Baptiste wins a poke battle against a Kiriko comp, just generally speaking, and Ramatra wins a poke against Orisa overall, just because he has that so much survivability.
Husky gonna be on that Widowmaker trying to find a pick, and there goes P-Box, head blown clean off from the Widowmaker. And so now it's already a 4v5 situation. Aura Fury gonna have to back up here as Blank is taken off of the board. That's 3v5 situation. And so a nice Widow swap from the side of Shoes Production Crew is gonna make things a lot more easy, and Aura Fury gonna have to take the back seat for the time being. And so now it is looking like this first cap is gonna go the way of Shoes Production Crew.
It does indeed. I mean, it's real easy when your Widow just gets a headshot real quick, and then the rest of you can just run in on them incredibly aggressively. But if that doesn't happen, I'm going to be curious to see what happens. And we have a Symmetra sighting here on Lijiang Tower.
Oh, that's a classic, as it is going to be a TP directly on the spawn, and it's going to shut down the amount of value that Widowmaker is able to get, and Bowsy taking all the damage in the world, going to be the first to fall. A flip is coming through, and Headrammer's off of the board. Husky gets a nice trade onto Blank, but it doesn't matter, as the rest of Aura Fury are going to be set up on the objective. They can't really find any more value from this angle. That Widowmaker is not going to be able to find as much as possible, especially with that Symmetra just being able to teleport directly on the point.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough for Husky. And like you said, it's just all those turrets being set up, all that spam damage. It's just a lot to try and get through. As an Orisa, Headrammer's going to have a really tough time here.
Yeah, they are going to try to go in for a re-engage, but Husky is able to get the kill on a P-Bok. A really nice opening. There's the sights popped through. ACS taking a lot of damage, and Wicked's going to be off of the board. So now it's a 3v5 situation, and the Widowmaker's going for a flank here. ACS, however, able to find two picks, two massive picks at that, but Barudi's taken off of the board. There goes ACS, and now it's just a Symmetra left alive, trying their absolute best to duel this out, but Hippie's able to shut that down, and so the flip's going to come through for the side of Shoes Production Crew, and all they had to use was sights.
Yeah, that was just a really good play overall. And I think Aura Fury just didn't force the point as hard as they really should have with that Symmetra. They kind of allowed the side of Shoes Production Crew to not have to deal with it. And oh my goodness, they're already on the point.
Oh, Bowsy's already off the board there. That's going to be bad as an override protocol comes through. There's a Terror Surge from Headrammer, trying to make things a little bit more even. The Terror Surge able to find one. There's another one onto Wicked. Hippie's able to find another one onto P-Bok, but an Annihilation is able to shut that down. It's a 2v4 situation, I believe, and Headrammer going to be able to shut down Barudi is making this a lot more difficult. Aura Fury, I don't know if you really wanted to commit the Annihilation there, but now Shoes Production Crew only have their two support ults.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in, right? The good thing, though, is that all Aura Fury has is the override protocol, and ideally you would have your sound barrier for it. So it's like, okay, we have the thing that we want for the ult that they have. Barrier is going to come in immediately from Blank.
Yeah, they're looking to try to get something done, but a beat is good from Barudi. They've committed both DPS ults, and they need to get something done here, as a lot of damage gets put onto Bowsy. There goes Headrammer as well. It's a 3v5 situation. Hippie's off of the board here, and so it looks like it's going to be a fight win for the side of Aura Fury, but they had to commit 3 ults in order to get the job done. They just have a window into a beat.
I gotta be honest, I'm really surprised Bowsy didn't beat that last fight. It seemed like a good opportunity to potentially continue holding the point there, but I'm assuming that they must have just said to hold it for this next fight so they could potentially do a beat engage here.
Yeah, Husky going to be taken off of the board there, going to make it things a little bit more even, but Blank is off the board. Husky's going to swap over to the Reaper now, and so now it's a 4v4 situation. The window comes through, and Headrammer going to try their best, but there's a beat from Bowsy. He's going to make things a little bit easier for the side of Shoes Production Crew. Dan is able to find 2 picks, already looking a lot better, as right now this flip is going to be going back the way of Shoes Production Crew, and it was just a beat for a window, and Shoes Production Crew have the ult advantage now.
Yeah, they really do. Aura Fury has nothing at all. Granted, all Shoes Production Crew has is a Terror Surge, but, that can help Headrammer to survive a little bit longer on that Orisa. I've been talking about how difficult it is to just not have that same level of sustain that a Ramatra has.
They're going to go for another TP play here, and this Terra Surge could be coming online here in just a couple of moments. The Lucio is down from Bowsy, but Baruti is traded out instantaneously. Terra Surge coming online. Headrammer taking all the damage in the world, but ACS going to be the next to fall. Dan is able to get the trade onto Blank, who was able to get the kill onto Headrammer, but now it's an overtime situation. Override Protocol coming online. P-Bach is dead, Wicked is next, and now it looks like Shoes Production Crew on the back of that Override Protocol is going to be able to make this a 1-to-1 round number 3 situation.
Oh man, Mega, it's been a really competitive first map so far, back and forth for both these teams, and it really the big difference there on that map was really just that Shoes Production Crew was realizing that they weren't going to win out that long, drawn-out fight, so they needed to try and get faster kills somehow. And so what did that mean? Widowmaker and headshot somebody. You know, it seems kind of like simple and straightforward, but it kind of just is the case that with the composition you're playing, you got to try and kill one of their squishy characters, because there's no way you're going to be able to kill that Ramatra before Headrammer falls over.
Yeah, we are going to see a compositional swap here as Orafury going to go over to that Reaper Zarya composition that we talked about earlier. ACS going to be trying to do something. Whoa, nice nade there from the side of Wicked. Makes the health bars drop a little bit, and they're going to be meeting over in the server side room. Husky taking a lot of damage. Already has to use that Wraith, and TP should be maybe forced out here, but no. Orafury just have all the space in the world. They're going to TP with a Reaper, but there goes Blank. A really uncoordinated play there, and now ACS trying their absolute best to stay alive, but they're going to be the next to fall. The Immortality Field is laid. It's a 3v5 situation, and there's the rest of the cleanup from the side of Shoes Production Crew. And despite the fact that all the space was going the way of Orafury, Shoes Production Crew are going to get the first cap.
Yeah, that's just a really unfortunate situation for Orafury, honestly. Just going a little too far on that Reaper and getting caught out, and yeah, I mean that's really it. No ult charge really gained for either side in particular, so no ults coming up shortly.
Yeah, they're going to go into re-engage, but an Immortality Field is already used from P-Bach. That's not a really good start here. The Reaper can be a little bit of an off angle here into Headrammer. It's going to be taking a lot of damage, but they're going to force a little bit of space here. The Orisa has to play careful, especially into the Zarya, but they're going to be meeting each other already. Wraith is used, and now Headrammer is going to pump out a lot of damage, but there's not any picks just yet. They're going to start moving through the server side, and whoa, that's a really aggressive play there from ACS, as they're going to take all the damage in the world. Override Protocol is utilized. Blank and his ACS are taken off of the board. P-Bach is next, and there goes the rest of the squad of Orafury, and Shoes Production Crew are going to be able to win out that fight.
I mean, Dan just killing it again with the Override Protocol, just timing it perfectly. And look at this ult charge right now. Shoes Production Crew basically full on all of their ultimates. Orafury getting close as well, but the main thing is Bowsy has the sound barrier available to do something about this grab.
ACS is taking all the damage in the world, going to get healed up and going to have that grab online here, but like you said, that beat is going to be available, so now it's looking like it might be last fight territory. The grab is online, it's going to be tossed in late. Bowsy's going to pop that beat, going to be able to connect onto everybody. Override Protocol comes online, does a lot of damage. There goes the beat, the Terra Surge is out. Husky's able to get the kill on the Wicked. No more value off of that Override Protocol. P-Bach is next to fall. ACS off of the board. Baruti not able to use that beat, and that's an entire team wipe for the side of Orafury, and Shoes Production Crew looking to push up and make sure there's no touches.
Yeah, they have to. They just burnt every single ultimate they have. They cannot allow anybody to touch from Orafury. You cannot let anybody touch here because the ult situation is just not in your favor.
ACS going to get that first touch. Oh, beat is online here for Baruti, and right now ACS desperately needs it. They are going to be able to pop it, but they don't touch! They don't get the second touch with their ball, and Shoes Production Crew go up in the series 1-0.
That is a CGL certified C9 right there. We witnessed it in real time, Mega. An actual, a real live C9. It just occurred. Or as my friends would call it, a letter number. Yeah,
Dude, you had all the advantage. You had both supportals. They had nothing. Your ball could have gotten second touch, and you could have won out that fight. Oh, no. That is unfortunate. But Orafury made that look competitive. They took it to all 3 rounds, and they're going to be going back and forth in this series. A really strong start there. And so now it is going to be Orafury's map selection here. They have a lot of modes. They can go to anything that they want to, as long as it's in the map pool. Where are you taking Shoes Production Crew?
So the thing is, right? Watchpoint Gibraltar's not available. because that's 100% where I would be taking them. Because I have not seen Shoes Production Crew play like a true. Well, no, that's a lie. I've seen Headrammer play a good bit of that diva actually. So that I would still try and opt them towards a dive style map if at all possible, because, like I said, when I've watched Aura Fury play, they tend to opt towards those Ramatra compositions, and
Mhm.
you lost the map where the Malga was available. Wasn't available, I should say. The Malga is now available. If Headrammer is really having a tough time, like he was on first point on that Orisa, he might just swap Malga and try and slam onto this Ramatra repeatedly. So we might end up in like a Ramatra mirror in in some alternate dimension eventually. So I think the answer really has to be to go for like a Rialto or a Numbani. I think that's got to be your answer. It's one of those two maps and try and force them force the teams onto like diva style matchups. But I haven't seen Aura Fury play those compositions, so that's why I'm hesitant to say that.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be interesting to see what we can see from the set of Aura Fury. I mean, Shoes Production Crew, haven't watched them a lot. Have only seen them a couple of times now. Just in the results, I haven't really. I just watched the C9 again from a different POV, and that was really rough. Sorry. No, I do think Shoes Production Crew managed to make that comeback. The first round, a little bit of a rough warm up there, but they are able to get the job done. So now we're just waiting on Aura Fury's map pick. I think you are right, though. I think you have to do. I think you do have to take them to a different kind of map, but you can't really force that brawl anymore. But the problem is that our map pool and the current situation in the postseason playoffs is definitely brawl favored. If I was to look at what maps are available for dive, let's see, you could run Numbani, Havana, you can run poke, Rialto and Dorado, you can run dive. Where else? Where else can you go? There's a world in like maybe you say like Hollywood, but like just ignore third point.
Mm.
um, but there's not a lot of options. I mean, Flashpoint's got nothing. I mean, if you go to Flashpoint, it's gonna have to be a brawl matchup, and you've already used your Malgaban, so it's gonna be a little bit more difficult. Maybe that's the time in which you take the Kiriko off the board. But we are just waiting to see what Aura Fury wants to select for us. I'm thinking that this could look. It's gonna look back and forth, you know. I'm not saying that I'm gonna root against Shoes Production Crew because then I think I might get fired. But I do think that it could be competitive. I do think that Aura Fury have a chance here. Every single series that they've had so far has been a 5 map, and this could be a situation in which that happens yet again.
Yeah, it's always a possibility, right? Shoes Production Crew sometimes goes 5 maps with teams that you wouldn't expect them to, let alone a team like Aura Fury, which is a team that I would say is good enough to push them that far. So it really is just going to depend on the map types they take us to. And I think Aura Fury is running into the same difficulty that like I was running into when I was trying to explain it earlier. The thing they should do is take us to a dive map, but they like playing Ramatra, right? So it's like I don't know, it's a very tough situation to be in because you don't want to go to a dive map, but that
Gonna
is
have to go
kind
to a
of what
dive
that
map.
is kind of what you should do right now. So I think they're probably just debating it back and forth with each other because we, like I said, we still don't have a map pick just yet.
No, I completely agree with you. I mean, it's going to be difficult for them to kind of find a solution here. You don't want to do the brawl mirror, so you go to a dive, but you don't run dive yourself, so you just kind of hope and pray that your dive is better, I guess. But it looks like we have our map selection, and it is going to be Numbani, so they're going to try their hand at a dive mirror here. We'll have to find out if ACS can play that Diva or that Winston. Yeah, we are both correct. We're going to be going to Numbani. That is probably the most dive centric map that we have in the pool right now. I think anything else would be like Watchpoint Gibraltar, which is in the pool. So, definitely going to be seeing some interesting compositions here. Not going to be seeing that Malga most likely. And the Aura Fury hoping that the change in scenery is going to be able to make this a 1-1.
Oh yeah, they are definitely hoping it will go that way. It was a competitive Lijiang Tower, so I have no reason to believe that Numbani will not also follow suit, and it won't be an incredibly close map. I am curious to see what the bans might be, just because, like I said, If Aura Fury has played Dive, I forgot about it. That's the best way I could put it. If they did play Dive in one of the games I casted, I forgot that they did it. So I'm instantly thinking that a Diva ban may be incoming here, just because I know Headrammer plays the Diva, but I haven't really seen Headrammer play any other dive tank. So it could be an instance where a Diva ban might be a really smart thing to do, and then ACS can play something besides Diva. It doesn't really matter what, you can play Hazard, you can play Winston, whatever it is you want, just something else, and just, force Headrammer onto a different character.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of these teams play the dive, but we are going to be going into that ban cycle now, and I'm not going to be surprised if it is a Diva ban. Maybe you do take maybe a Brig offline, force a little bit of a more fast-paced backline. Maybe go like that on a Kiriko. Okay, Kiriko is going to be the one taken off of the board. That is not what I expected here. And most of the times, whenever you look at dive, it's most likely a situation where you won that Brig Ana, so not going to be something that I saw coming. But you got any insight on that? Oh,
well, like I told you, I have not seen Hippie play anything other than Kiriko this entire season.
Okay.
So Aura Fury might also be saying the same thing. They're like, I have not seen Hippie play anything else this entire season, so we're gonna force Hippie onto something else. Choose Production Crew going to be banning out that Echo here. This is a really solid Echo map for people who play it. I think Echo's really good right now, actually. I just think people aren't wanting to play it because of how good Emre is right now. It's one of those things where, like, if Emre wasn't so good, I think Echo would actually get played a lot. So it's just it's a tough spot.
Yeah, I do think that's... I agree with you, actually. I've been trying to ban out Echo a lot of the times in my own ranked games. But I do believe that this definitely could be a situation in which that Emre coming out online here shuts down those flyers like the Pharah, like the Echo, and so taking that off the board, gonna be a smart choice here from Shoes Production Crew. But I am interested to see now what kind of compositions they're going to be rolling out on. If Headrammer is going to be, since they've only been running Kiriko this entire season, what's going to happen now that the Kiri's not on the board? Are they going to be over to the Ana? Is this going to be a situation in which we see... I don't know, Lucio? I'm not entirely sure. This could definitely change the things. Normally, it would just be an on a Brig backline, on that dive, but it could be different for sure.
Well, the plot twist here is that Hippie has been wanting to be off of Kiriko for this entire season, but hasn't been able to because Kiriko is the pick. You can ask him about it. He'll tell you all the time how he's in Kiriko jail. So he's probably pretty happy right now. He's like, yeah, I get to not play Kiriko, so we're gonna get. So I wouldn't be shocked if it was like an Ana Brig style backline, because again, what else are you gonna play? That's the real question. It's not even necessarily that this is the best thing to. It's like, what else are we gonna play besides this? Are we gonna come out on Lifeweaver? Is that what we're gonna do? I've seen Bowsy attempt Lifeweaver. It could happen.
Did it go well?
No, he didn't actually play it. He just swapped off of it.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, if we saw Lifeweaver come out, I'd be like, there's no way. But no, interesting bans here in terms of what you typically run on a dive map. But we're just waiting we're just waiting to see if we can get all the players into the lobby. We do have our cams there. Oh, look at everybody there. Hey, everybody. We do see a couple substitutes. Gato going to be over to in for the sub of support, and Blank also swapping over to the support, and Jaffner going to be in on DPS. Very interesting substitutions. I did talk to Aura Fury before, and they did talk about how they do put Blank in between those roles. So maybe this is a situation where Jaffner is going to be on that, maybe like that Widowmaker or something.
Yeah, it very well could be the case. Blank always really, really good on that Brigida, so that's what I'm expecting to come out here. That, like I said, that Brig was always so good. Like Blank is just kind of like, I always say Blank is like Mirror. You remember Mirror from like Pro Overwatch?
Oh yeah.
Mirror just showed up and just did whatever. They just threw him on whatever.
I forgot about Mirror, man. That guy played everything.
Yeah, that's kind of Blank. Blank just shows up and plays whatever is needed to fill for the team.
And that's honorable, but we'll have to find out if that substitution is going to be something that guarantees the map win here. We can take a look at the bans really quickly. Mauga and Kiri from the side of Aura Fury, and Pharah, Echo. Shoes Production Crew looks like they're not really liking the flyers from the looks of things. Maybe next up will be the Cat. Who knows?
You know, there's always a chance. There's a chance of anything that can happen. They could ban Diva after that. That's a flying character, you know what I'm saying? Ban Winston. Winston has a jump pack. That's kind of flying. You know what I mean?
Kind of flying. Who else flies in the world of Overwatch? I guess Freya like has that like jump up. That kind of counts, right? And then you can like hover in the air for a bit.
Yeah, she does float in midair. That is a crazy ability, by the way. It's like, wait a minute, you're telling me, how do you think that works in real life? Like, if you actually had that thing, you think you just focus really hard and that's how you float? Like,
you jump up really high. No, it's like a super soldier from like the MCU or something, right? They clearly that's what they have. Honestly, like when I think about it a little bit, like, and I have to go at like the abilities of certain characters, some of them are like so insane. They're just like, oh yeah, you get to like, fly everywhere, or you get to like do a super jump, and then soldiers just, I get to sprint, I get to run really fast. So it definitely makes you think. It's not like Marvel Rivals, of course, where that's a whole different beast, a whole different breed. But I mean, we're just waiting on a couple R's from a couple players, as it does look like we are just. I'm not entirely sure where they are. Maybe they're in the bathroom or something.
Yeah, like I said, they're like you were just saying a second ago. They're a different animal, but the same beast.
Exactly, like Kobe Bryant said. What was that one? You know what I'm talking about? With like it was like with Kanye West and Kobe Bryant.
Yes, that is actually what I'm referencing. Right
Okay,
now.
okay,
That is an intentional thing I'm doing right now.
You know what? We're like on the same wavelength a little bit, but
it's a bit. You just roll with it.
You're just like, what does that mean? Do your records break records? Oh God, I don't even remember what it is, but it's funny. You guys got to look it up when you get the chance. Just I don't exactly know. Maybe a couple technical issues, potentially.
Yeah, they're just taking their time. You know how it is. If anybody who's ever been in a scrim team before, it always takes everybody 15 minutes to start up, and nothing's actually happening. They just take forever to start up for quite literally no reason. So that could also be the thing that is going on right now too. Any number of reasons for why it could be taking so long for us to get started here on Numbani. I really do want to see what these two teams are going to play comp-wise, because like I said, the Shoes Production Crew typically plays that Kiriko and that Lucio, so it's like, okay, we're going to see the Ana Brig this time. I want to see the Ana Brig. I want to see it, I always say that you ban things because people have to show you they can play the other thing, right? It's not that I think you're not a good player. You just got to show me that you can play the other thing, because I'm not just going to let you play this one thing the whole series, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's I think Sun Tzu said that, or something along the lines, or, but I do think that is correct as we're getting transition. Okay, yes, we are going to be going into the map as I mean, just kind of forcing that swap off of the Kiriko is definitely going to make things a little bit more interesting, more enticing to watch. So hopefully we do see that on a Brig. Maybe we see some other backline compositions. I don't know. I mean, from the side of Aura Fury, wow, this is... Okay, wait. They're on attack. I'm not saying anything just yet, because there's no way that Torbjorn comes out.
There's a possibility. I believe I have seen some Tor played on Numbani, so it wouldn't absolutely shock me by any stretch of the imagination. But Shoes Production Crew going to be opting for that BAP Brig as opposed to the Ana Brig. Again, it makes sense. Hippie not typically going to be a flex support player, and I think the Baptiste lends itself to being a more newer player, less hours played friendly than an Ana is. You got to be like so perfect on an Ana, but with Baptiste you have a lot more freedom, I'd say.
ACS going to be on that Winston now. We'll have to find out if that is going to be the solution to all of their problems. Also on that double hit scan yet again. Wicked and Jaffner going to be on the Soj and Emre. So we'll have to find out if this is going to be the change that they need. Force the Kiriko swap off and then go to a dive composition. Header Emre eating that nade in the face. Not going to be able to do anything, but Aura Fury's health bars are incredibly low. ACS gonna have to go grab that Mega on the inside area, as right now they're just trying to push up to this high ground. A nice nade there from Husky, gonna force the rest of the team back, but Header Emmer taking all the damage in the world. There goes an overclock. or an immortality field, excuse me, as a Hippie already going to have that immortality field used. Husky is able to get the kill onto Wicked, however. And ACS going to be the next to fall, as Dan going to be going over to that high ground. Aura Fury, I did watch Blank just bash off the high ground directly into oncoming traffic, and Husky's able to shut that down, and that's a hold for Shoes production crew.
I gotta be real with you. I'm fairly certain you can make that jump on Brigitte. I don't know how Blank didn't make that jump. Like, I'm fairly certain that makes that across there. I'm gonna have to try that after this game just to make sure. But you know, it's a valiant effort to at least try and go kill yourself since everybody else is going down. But Bowsy dying right there is incredibly bad. As is that.
Yeah, that makes it a 3v5 situation. A lot of damage is there as they realized that Headrammer was off the map because they were in Baby Diva form, and so now it's going to be 2 ticks and potentially a third one as Aura Fury going to be able to get that first point. And it wasn't really that much of a fight, you know. Headrammer had to reset, and then Bowsy was taken off the board, followed by Dan, and so now they're going to be able to push up a little bit more aggression there. As a lot of damage putting on the side of Headrammer. The Winston is going to drop, taking a lot of damage, however, and Dan is going to be picking up the board yet again. Jaffner doing a really good job on the Sojourn. Pressure getting put through as a Hippie is going to lose that immortality field yet again. The D-Mech comes online. There's the override protocol coming online here since there's no mech available, and there's a lot of damage. Wicked's able to get the kill onto Hippie. There's the Brigitte trying their absolute best to run away and try to get something. Oh, Dan gets shut down yet again. There goes Bowsy on that Brigitte, and so they are going to be winning that fight out again, and Aura Fury get this push going even further.
Yeah, it's just an unfortunate thing that you got taken to second point if you're Shoes production crew, because as we all know, second point of Numbani is a formality. It's not an actual point. You just have to play it because you got to get to the next point, as we're all fully aware. It just kind of happens. But Headrammer swapping onto that Malga now, and the Amp Matrix coming out, but Hippie's already down.
Yeah, Headrammer gonna get the trade onto Blank. Board here. It's a 3v4 situation, and the override protocol plus the window does a ton of damage onto Jaffner and ACS, so they're gonna have to back up for the time being. The point was captured. When did that happen? Oh no, that's bad. A time refresh and the forward spawn gonna be unlocked here for Aura Fury. That is, I don't know how that happened, but that is huge.
Like I told you, second point of Numbani is a formality. It's not a real point. We just have to do it so that we can both acknowledge that it happened. Now we can play third, which is a real point. It's a big ante coming out right there.
Yeah, Overclock going to come online here for Jaffner. Going to be looking at Dan, not going to be able to find that kill, but the rally is utilized. Forces that Primal. There goes Dan. Bowsy's next to fall. Headrammer taking all of the damage in the world, trying their absolute best to stay alive to the best of their ability, but Hippie's dead, and now it's just Headrammer trying their absolute best to farm off of this Winston. The rally is not available for either of these sides, and Wicked is going to be able to finalize the kill on the Headrammer. So it is going to be looking like this could be a 3-point cap and an incredibly quick time bank, as Dan gonna swap over to that Reaper, try to deal with that Winston to the best of their ability. 4 minutes left on the clock. Dan is taken off of the board. ACS taking all the damage in the world, but not gonna be taken down just yet. Bowsy next to fall. Blank has done a really good job on this Brigitte. Override protocol yet again. Headrammer is able to get the trade onto Blank, but Headrammer cannot last for much longer, and that's the full cap with 3 minutes and 52 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, it was just continuous staggers over and over again after that first point. It was a really good first fight coming through from Shoes production crew, but once that first stagger kill came through, it just continuously kept happening over and over again for the rest of the map. And yeah, I mean, Shoes production crew just couldn't really recover from it. It's just tough, honestly. I think they just have to. They gotta stop dying to like these stray bullets. That's really the big thing that was happening. Like that entire after first fight, somebody was just dying to stray bullets, and you can't win down a player constantly.
Yeah, it is going to be a little bit of an interesting situation. I mean, Shoes production crew just never really got a fight in after that first hold they got. So that time bank is going to be massive for Aura Fury. They're going to be on that defense now, as it's going to be really interesting to see what happens next for the side of Aura Fury. Are they going to be able to hold for longer? Jaffner going to be swapping over to that Ashe as a really, really good showing there from Aura Fury in this comeback. And they kind of need to win this map, right? You've used the Kiriko ban and you forced a dive map. So, right, if they don't win this map, it's going to be really bad for them. I mean, they've played all their cards at this point. So Shoes production crew going to make a couple of interesting swaps there. Bowsy on the Moira, Hippie on the Alari there. We'll have to find out if that happens as a double hit scan from both of these teams yet again. I don't know how likely we'll be able to see that work out, but we'll have to find out as Headrammer is going to be on that D-Day.
Yeah, Dan was really struggling on that Tracer to just make it to anybody. So, I mean, it makes sense to swap over to that more hit scanny type role here. The thing I'm really going to be curious about is Bowsy on this Moira. You got to really try to get high value on that character.
Yeah, all of these players are going to be on that top right angle, and ACS with all the damage in the world. Going to have to back up for the time being, but they're going to be blown apart as Headrammer going to be able to finalize that kill. It's a 4v5 situation without a tank for the side of Warrior Fury. Health bars are low for Dan, but Dan is going to be able to kill on a Wicked. Jaffner is going to be the next to fall, and so now it's looking like it's a 3 no, never mind. It's going to be a 1v5 as Blank did get the trade onto Dan, but it didn't matter all too much as Gato is going to be shut down, and that's going to be the first point going the way of Shoot Production Crew. Another beautiful attack arc.
Yeah, Blank said, "I'm gonna get my one." Right? You know, it's like Stephen A. Smith said back in the day. AI will get you one, right? Blank's gonna get you one. That's the most that he can get right there in that particular situation. But ACS just getting blown up so fast on that Winston, and that's the thing that's gonna be so tough. Is you have to be very careful playing Winston. If you are missing your armor health whatsoever, you are pretty much going to explode the moment anybody shoots you.
Yeah, right now it does look like the rest of the production is going to be set up at a really nice aggressive angle, trying to kind of poke out whoever you can. The next whip shot from Blank, they're going to force that Diva Fly to already come through, as we do have 11 on the clock, but Dan is going to be taken off the board. Automatically a 4v5 situation, and the rest of Shoot Production are probably going to have to kite out because of it. Losing that memory is going to be a lot of damage that you don't have on the table, as Gato going to be farming up to that Nano. They're going to be pushing up, and Headrammer going to be taken out of the mech there. The bomb is utilized, so they are going to be able to get a remake, but definitely you're all taken off of the board. So now Bowsy going to be coming close to that coalescence here. Could be a game changer as they're going to try their best to keep on pushing. There's the window! It's not going to be the greatest of windows from the side of Hippie. Headrammer is able to kill onto Blank, and Jaffner going to be next to fall, but Wicked is able to get a trade onto Husky, making it a 3v3 situation. And that Nano was utilized, and ACS is still alive and well, but Headrammer going to really have a lot of support from them, as the Moira are going to be trying their absolute best. They have a very limited amount of healing, and so now it looks like a little bit more of a hold there from the side of Aura Fury. This fight is being really drawn out. It doesn't really feel like a fight. It's more like a cold war, as they're just trying to force out ultimate abilities, as there's a coach gun onto the high ground from Jaffner, has that Bob online, and there comes an overclock coming from Husky. Coalescence is also utilized. Override Protocol is going to shut down Husky. Blank is traded with that rally, but another one onto Hippie makes things a little bit easier. ACS gonna be able. Oh, Dan popped the Override Protocol. That is a huge fight to lose. I mean, you used everything, and Shoes Production Crew are now looking like America in the 1920s.
I don't get it. Great Depression? Is that the joke?
Yeah, Great Depression. It's a Great Depression.
Okay, I get you. That's for everybody at home, just so everybody knows. But coming into this next fight, all that's going to be available is that Primal Rage from ACS, but that's a very important ult because it just allows your Winston to be over the top aggressive. And especially into a composition where there are 2 hit scans, you want to be able to be aggressive on that Winston to just force angles.
Yeah, ACS does have that Primal online, and they're not going to be able to find anything, but Husky's able to get a nice kill on the Gato. That's going to be a lot of the healing shutdown, and there goes another one from Husky on Jaffner, and so now it's a 3v5 situation. Primal is popped, but Headrammer has taken down Blank, and so now this fight is looking a lot less winnable. You pop that Primal trying to look for something, and Wicked is able to get the kill onto Husky. It's a 2v5 situation, make it a 1v5 situation, as Headrammer going to be able to shut down those last players and get the cap here. 4 minutes on the clock here, and they're going to have a less time bank, but they have a chance to make it a little bit more even.
Yeah, we had one of those meanwhile back at the plot moments, right? Watching ACS get that Primal off, going for the kills in the back line, but meanwhile, back at the plot, 3 people dying on cart. So, tough situation to run into, but that is the power of Widowmaker. We saw Husky do it on map 1, and Husky's trying to do it again.
Yeah, Husky trying their absolute best on the Widowmaker. The sites are going to be forced, already trying to look for something to get done. ACS has swapped over to that Diva to try to match. Jaffner taken off of the board there. Headrammer doing a nice job shutting that down. The Ana is the next target. Going to get shot. Not going to be taken off of the board, however. Nice rotate, but nobody's there just yet. Immortality Field has been utilized from the side of Hippie. Has that window coming online there. And a dive-in coming through from ACS with that Nano. Wicked's going to be able to find the kill onto Husky. And right now, Hippie seems to be in a bad position. Taken off of the board there as Wicked's able to find a second one. As the rest of Shoes Production going to be backing out for the time being. A minute off the clock, and they did pop that sights, but Aura Fury did utilize their Nano there.
They did indeed. Husky going to be swapping over to that Ashe here. More consistent damage than the Widowmaker. You're not required to get those one shots to really get your value off. Gonna have their bomb issues, production crew, and that amp matrix, and pretty close on the override protocol and the coalescence as well. Wicked going to have their override protocol, so it's really just going to be a matter, I think, of who gets aggressive first here, because you really don't want to allow Wicked to walk over your team with this override protocol like he has been.
Yeah, also both support ups online, as Bowsy going to be the first one to pop their coalescence. Going to be forcing a lot of players back as Jaffner on that tracer trying to find something. However, ACS is out of the mech. Override protocol has been utilized, trying to find some kind of value, but there's still a Diva mech alive and well, so you're not going to be able to find as much value as you desperately need. A lot of damage onto Headrammer, not able to find anything just yet. Window was utilized, Wicked is shut down, and so now it's looking like it's a 3v5 situation. Headrammer able to shut down the baby Diva, so now it's looking like they'll be able to get a push going as Headrammer is able to clean up the rest.
Something I want to note just while we were on Jaffner's cam is that is not Jaffner, that is Blank. We're just having a little technical difficulties right now, so just in case anybody was wondering, yeah, this is Blank right here. That's the face cam right now, but looking for a flank on that tracer.
Override protocol has been utilized from Dan. The rally is there and good. Nano gets applied to them also. Jeez Louise, they're trying their absolute best to get these kills, as they're not going to be able to do it for the time being, as it is going to be an overtime situation from the looks of things. As a minute and 30 on the clock, the bomb is available from Headrammer, but they don't have anything else. They might be forced out of the mech there, but there goes Blank. Hippies gets traded out from Wicked, who's done an incredible job on this M-Ray. Dan is able to get the kill onto Gato, but Husky is taken off the board there. So it's a 3v3 situation. The bomb is available for both of these Divas. Dan is able to get another kill onto Wicked, but ACS is able to get another kill onto Dan. So these are back and forth engages, and Bowsy's going to be the next to fall, as right now it is looking like it's going to be another hold for Aura Fury. A minute left on the clock.
Yeah, you're in a very tough situation right now. If you're Shoes Production Crew, you got to win this next fight just to even have time, right? Ideally you finish with some time. Even if you don't finish with any time, that's better than nothing. But coming in here, you've got the Coalescence, you've got Bob for a little bit of point presence, and you've got a remech opportunity here for Headrammer. But that ante is massive.
Oh my god, that ante was absolutely huge. I'm surprised that nobody got taken down. I mean, if it did force that immortality field automatically, as we do see Blank's green box there, as the Bob has been utilized, Blank is taken off the board. There goes Gato, so there's not going to be any supports left alive for the side of Aura Fury. They can try to force an overtime situation here as ACS trying their absolute best to stabilize. They do have that bomb still available. They need to hold on for 20 more seconds. Wicked off of the board. There's the bomb. It is going to probably allow a remech to come through, but no, ACS off of the board. 20 seconds left on the clock. You need to force an overtime situation, and there's going to be a first touch coming through from Jaffner. Has that recall forced automatically. 3 meters left to go. Gato is off the board. Coalescence is there. There's still a bomb on the side of Shoes Production Crew's Headrammer, trying their best to shut down whoever they can. ACS is there. There's Wicked off of the board there. They're going to be able to get a touch. 2 seconds. 1 second. Oh my gosh, it's an overtime situation. They cannot win the map.
Oof, that was so close. The Wrecking Ball actually ended up being the difference right there. It was literally the shield HP that ACS got that allowed that to get all the way down to 0.
I mean, yeah, now, if you are Aura Fury, this is your map to tie up, actually, is the saying. You can't lose this map. You can only win or draw. So Shoes Production Crew going to try to make sure that they can make this not a 1-1 series. They're trying to make sure that it still stays a 1-0, just with a with a little bit of a question mark next to why is it map number 3 and the score is only 1-0. But Aura Fury has a huge time bank, right? There's 4 minutes on the clock. They can kind of just what they really can do is just take it slow, build ult, and then kind of pop them, because Shoes Production Crew are going to have to use their own ults in order to stabilize things.
I mean, the key is just to get Headrammer out of mech again, right? And then Headrammer jumps off the map, and then all of a sudden you kill everybody else, and then you cap first point. That's all that has to happen. But they do have 4 minutes, as you mentioned, which is as much time as you normally get. So several ult fights to be had here, and Hippie going to be running that Iari, which again I don't think Iari is a bad pick by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't know. It's going to be tough to stay alive and keep this pylon upright. I don't know. I'm going to have to see how this goes.
Yeah, it is going to be very interesting to see how Shoes Production Crew try to get this hold going, as the Aura Fury already taking that high ground. ACS taking a lot of damage. Whoa, ACS, be careful! A nade gets applied to Headrammer, who's going to be antied and has to drop off the high ground. Dan, also incredibly low, going to stabilize for the time being, as right now, 3 minutes and 30 seconds off the clock. as they're just trying their best to get something done here. Blank taking a lot of damage, gonna have to be forced out for the time being. ACS has taken a little bit of an off angle here, gonna be flying up behind it, and well, looking at that pylon, trying to get rid of it, but ACS loses the mech for it. I don't know if that's a worthy trade. Sure, you're... Oh, nice shots from Wicked onto Bowsy there. Makes things a little bit easier. ACS has been taken down, however, so it is looking like it is a 4v4, but you don't have a tank if you're the side of Aura Fury. So they're probably gonna have to back out for the time being, but they're not giving up the space. ACS has gone back over to the ball, so we're gonna have to see if that is gonna be the solution, as there's 3 minutes left on the clock, and nobody's really been taken down yet. Aura Fury is still trying to get out from this top right angle, but Headrammer is just doing an incredible job. Dan is gonna be taken off the board, and Headrammer is gonna be bashed off for the 3rd time, I think, in this engagement. The Alari is gonna force that ball off of the high ground. Headrammer gonna be looking at that Sojourn, not able to find anything just yet, as there's bodies on the objective. Wicked is able to get the kill on a hippie. Bowsy's next off the board, and so now there's a rally on board. There goes the bomb, but it's not gonna be enough, and that's gonna be Aura Fury with the map win, making it a 1-1 series.
Ooh, tying it up is Aura Fury, showing that, hey, they are here and they are for real here tonight. I mean, a really dominant attack round coming in from Aura Fury, and that's really what did it, right? They never allowed Shoes Production Crew to regroup for their entire for Aura Fury's entire attacking phase. They never allowed Shoes Production Crew to regroup on their defense. So, you know, kudos to them for just constantly laying on that pressure.
Yeah, really good showing there from Aura Fury, managing to make it a 1-1 series. But now Shoes Production is going to be able to do something that they haven't been able to do for quite a while now. They're going to be the ones picking map. They're going to be able to have that first ban on the board as well. So definitely going to be interesting to see where they decide to take us, what their plan is. You know, maybe they go back to that brawl composition. But before we get into that, we are going to throw it to a quick break. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with map number 3. Welcome back, everybody, to map number 3 for our postseason playoffs here in the NA Masters tier. I am Mega Ninja 44, joined by Shadowfang2, and we are here in a situation that Shoes Production Crew, the #1 seed, have not been in a hot minute, and that's going to be them having their map selection. They did go to a 5 map against Blackout Eclipse, but that was back in round number 2, and here we are in round number 4. They haven't really had a fight yet, and Aura Fury already proving that they are a better team than when they last faced Shoes Production Crew. If you're Shoes Production Crew, where are you taking Aura Fury?
Well, I think you want to go back to like a brawl style map just because you showed that you were better on that composition. So really anywhere, quite frankly. Like there's very few choices that are incorrect choices. And so Havana, I think, might be one of those choices actually.
I was about to say, is that one of those wrong choices? Yeah, you know, Havana is definitely not as brawly as some of the other options in the pool. Definitely more of a poke-heavy map. I mean, you do allow Husky to maybe go over to that Widowmaker more permanently than what we saw from them on Lijiang and Nubani. We did see that Husky has a really, really solid Widowmaker on them. But now, if you're Shoes Production, maybe you want to protect that Widowmaker. You ban out a DPS, try to keep that Widowmaker still online, or maybe you look at I mean, that Kiriko ban has already been utilized, so you don't need to worry about that. Maybe you can ban out the Baptiste, force a little bit less poke. What are you banning if you're Shoes Production?
So it really depends on what Shoes Production Crew wants to play. Typically, you see Sigma mirrors on this map, so like you said, I think the idea would be to ban out like something like a DPS, but it appears as though Shoes Production Crew has picked the Sigma map to not play the Sigma. So I'm fascinated what the strategy generally is about to be right now.
I have to imagine it's going to be running the Malga because the Sigma counters it the best of their ability. If I'm Aura Fury, I'm taking off the Widow. Yeah, okay. Just taking the care of that Widowmaker. I think it's a smart play. I think it's a smart idea. Husky was kind of going crazy on that Widowmaker when they were able to play it. And this is probably the most Widow favored map in the entire map pool. So taking care of that, making sure that can't find a lot of value I think it's a smart idea. And so we'll have to find out what Husky's going to be running in that situation. But like I was saying with the Sigma ban, it is going to be, you know, Sigma counters out that Malga incredibly easily, so maybe Headram are going to be going over to that Malga. You're not allowed to play the Sigma into it, and since it is a poke map, you know, you're going to be on, what, the Domina? Domina into Malga doesn't sound like that would be all too much fun. I don't think I've actually ever had that interaction before. I don't know who would really win that fight. I have to imagine it's the Malga, but we do not have any substitutions in. We have all of our player cams there. This is looking like it's going to be a back and forth engagement as we are in a 1-1 situation. Whoever wins this map goes up in the series.
I can tell you, I've personally ran that matchup, and as long as everybody coordinates it together, the Malga does indeed win out. You just have to do it like a dive.
Okay.
Which, you know, that's how the higher level teams usually play Malga. It's kind of like you just dive with the slam, and here you go. You can see the bans we had come through so far. That Kiriko being back online, I think, is going to be really, really crucial. You were just seeing, like, yeah, Hippie's still, like, mechanically good at, like, the Baptiste, but Hippie, like, knows how to play Kiriko, and you could really tell throughout that map it was just not quite the same. So I think Shoes Production Crew will go back to, like, looking a lot more like their normal selves on this map. It is going to be tough to not have that Widowmaker online. Looking like Shoes Production Crew is going to be opting for a Diva-style composition with the Kiriko and the Moira, actually.
Oh, that's very interesting. ACS going to be all over on that Orisa, and Jaffner going to be on that Hanzo. Also, I really wanted to point out, just really quickly, our idea about Shoes Production Crew hating flyers, still technically true. Sigma has that levitate perk. Technically, he can also fly. So technically, we're not wrong just yet.
Yeah, so I guess that means Zenyatta got to be the next ban, because
Zenyatta
floats, you know?
Yeah,
it's like I always say, man, if Zenyatta wasn't meant to flank, he'd have footsteps.
I've been saying that, actually, as we are going to get this underway. Double hit scan here from Set of Shoes Production Crew. Dan going to be all set up, and Blank has already shut down Husky. That's an immediate pick, making it a 4v5 situation. That's not good. That's not a good start. But I do have to think that maybe Aura Fury going to be able to push up with this advantages that they clearly have. It's going to be difficult to play the D.Va into this Orisa. You know, you're not going to be able to really DM all too much besides what? Just the normal shots. The M-Rays are going to be firing at each other. Definitely going to be having a sequel ult charge, as it does look like Headram are going to be over to that high ground. Or if you're just pushing the objective for free, essentially, as finally Hippie going to be taking an off angle, and Huskies come back and found 2 picks. Really nice start there for that Ashe. Once they're able to actually play the game, they're going to be able to find 1 and 2 and then go back up to the high ground, force the rest of Ori Fury back. Jaffner and ACS are incredibly low, and Ori Fury going to have to back up, but they got a good bit of push in.
Yeah, Husky said, once I'm not having to see those 5 heads coming out, you know what I mean? Once I'm not having to see that nonsense, I can play the game a lot better on this Ashe. Shows up and just immediately gets the kills as a good refrag entry, one might say. Nobody's super close on ultimates except for Bowsy on this Coalescence, and I'm going to be really curious to see how Shoes Production Group tries to engage with that with this style of comp they have.
Bowsy already going to have to use their fade on out of that situation. A lot of pressure getting applied to the backline of Shoes Production Crew. And Husky going to be the first to fall in this engagement. Oh my god, a CAC has taken all the damage in the world. The nade's going to be late, and so now it's a 4v4. I mean, you kind of wanted your 4 to have the side of the tank, but Bowsy's off the board. That's going to make it a 3v4. That's really how math works. And so this entire time, Aura Fury going to be pushing the objective. They have a couple ults still, but the D.Va is still online here for the side of Shoes Production. A Discord gets up put onto Dan, but they're not going to be able to get that takedown just yet, as the Orisa should be back here in just a couple of moments, but this D.Va, whoa, that's Headrammer taken out of the mech there. That's going to be the go button. The Transcendence has come through from the side of Blank. They're trying to close this out right here, right now. The rush is utilized. There's the override protocol, however, and so that rush might have been in vain. They just need to find a couple more picks. There goes Bowsy. They do get the remech, but it doesn't matter all too much. Husky finds 1, but I mean, it's just a couple stagger picks. And that's going to be Shoes Production Crew losing that first defense, and Aura Fury getting a time refresh.
That's tough. You blow both of your support ults right there in a fight that was not really ever going to be winnable. It's just because Headrammer lost the mech, right? Headrammer going to swap over to this Orisa. I think that's going to prove to be better in the long run, just to be able to compete there. But you've got to lay some pressure onto Aura Fury's backline. This is a very, very greedy backline. I almost would want to see somebody play Tracer right now, just because there is an Ana Zen on the board, and having something to lay some pressure on that, I think, would be incredibly useful.
Jaffner is already going to get the pick onto Dan, and Headrammer taken incredibly low. Oh, nice shots from Husky, able to shut down Blank, but there goes Wicked, and ACS able to find trades. The Bob had been utilized, but it's on the high ground, and can't really find anything. It does get slept. Headrammer going to be able to finalize that kill into ACS, but the entire time, the bot has been getting pushed. They're looking at maybe one more fight before they cap, but ACS off of the board, Jaffner taken down. Aura Fury probably going to have to take a reset here, but they can come back. They don't really have any ults, though, so that might be a little bit of a problem in order for them to cap the second point.
Yeah, but taking down Dan like that is not a good spot to be in, especially when that's your only ult as Shoes Production Crew. Again, I really think somebody needs to be on like a character that can really pressure this Zen out, because this Zen, you have Zen on a backline. That backline should not be able to be existing as free as it is right now.
Yeah, oh, Headrammer going to be put in an awkward position. Dan has swapped over, and ACS going to be taken off the board there. That Tracer is the right call, I think, in your words. As a nice shot from Dan there. Going to be able to shut down 2 players, and Headrammer is going to be able to find another one. So that's going to be Shoes Production holding on for a little bit longer as we approach 2.5 minutes left on the clock for Aura Fury's attack.
Yeah, you hate to lose the M-Ray here, but again, it makes too much sense. Look, you've already forced a swap, right? Pause is coming through, but you've already forced a swap. One fight on that Tracer, and you already forced the swap off of the Ana. That's a huge cooldown that's no longer going to be available in the anti-nade. But still, you don't have a Brigida, so you don't have a Brigida, you don't have a Cass. So Dan can still potentially run wild on this backline here, and so I am going to be very curious to see what's happening here. Looks like Whacker de-seed for the side of Aura Fury, which is unfortunate because I think they had override protocol. I believe they did, at least, or they were like 85% maybe. Am I remembering that right, Mega?
That sounds right. I believe so. I think you were close to being right. Maybe the old storages were a little. That's supposed to be your job. I'm the play-by-play. You're the color. No, I think you're close. But I do believe that that if that ultimate was online and now it's been taken off of the board with 2.5 minutes left, it's going to be a really good showing for Shu's production crew to hold on to this, right? They have a situation, they have a chance in order to really get a foothold now that there's no more DPS ult to really worry about. So if I'm the side of Aura Fury, I'm going to have to pray that I can force out a lot of damage and try to build up that ult fast enough as, we got 2.5 minutes roughly. You could build another one, but I mean, it's going to be in an OT situation, and you don't really like playing Havana third with a very minimal time bank, so a little bit of an issue for the side of Aura Fury, as we're just going to be waiting to get them back on into the server. But this really could go either way. I think both these teams are playing really well. I like Dan swapping over to that Tracer. I think it's doing a really good job shutting that down. And we'll have to find out if Blank is going to be swapping off of that Zenyatta, or if they're going to be staying on it for the time being.
Yeah, I think they're going to stick with it for the time being. They're pretty close on the Transcendence, if my memory's serving me correctly. I think they were like 80-something% maybe. So probably just going to stick on it for at least the Transcendence to come through.
Oh.
And...
Oh, wait. Headrammer DC'd.
Oh, that was Headrammer. That's who it was.
Oh. Okay, Wicked still has that override protocol, and now Headrammer doesn't have Terra. This is actually a lot better for Aura Fury now. They can push up. This Orisa going to be back into that engagement, but I mean, what are you going to do? You have no Terra Surge versus 64%, and so I mean, a lot of pressure getting applied by all different angles. They're going to be rotating. Oh, there's Hippie. Hi, Hippie. There's a TP on out, as it looks like to be a little bit of a rotate from ACS. Dan going to be forced out for the time being. A lot of damage getting applied to Gato on that Baptiste. Bowsy's going to be taken off of the board, though. I don't know if I love that engagement, and Husky's also dead. That's a bad start. It's a 2v5, excuse me, as Hippie's going to be the next to fall. Headrammer's next, and now with a minute and a half left, Shu's production crew have a lot of ults, but this cart is going to be rolling in the favor of Aura Fury.
It's really unfortunate that you didn't even force any ultimates out. That's really the big thing. You didn't force any ults out. Dan tried to get a pulse bomb there. A worthwhile effort to at least try and force that Transcendence early. But now you're in a situation where there are just a ton of ultimates that's going to come out for both sides. But Husky getting that opening kill is going to be huge.
Transcendence is going to be massive here for Aura Fury. There's the Override Protocol. Bob has been popped from Husky. There's the Transcendence, and it goes on to the Override Protocol, trying their absolute best to find a couple of picks. Not going to be able to find anything just for the time being. Husky going to be looked at incredibly hard, not taken off the board just yet, and Husky's able to get the kill. Blank is going to be the next to fall. Wicked has let it slip through their fingers, and Gato is going to be the next to fall. It's just ACS and Jaffner, but it doesn't matter all too much, as it looks like Shu's production crew going to be able to hold on for the time being.
Told you, Hippie on that Kiriko, a little bit different than Hippie on that Baptiste. You could really just see it right there, too. Husky managing to win that 1v1 entirely because of Hippie's healing coming through in clutch time. Both support ults online for Shu's production crew as well. And Headrammer just about built up to that Terra Surge also. So, Jaffner getting that first kill could be huge.
Yeah, that's going to be a really devastating pick there. As I mean, you're losing your Tracer when that Zenyatta is going to be able to free roam. Hippie's taken off the board too. That's absolutely massive. Immortality Field has been utilized. There's the window as well. Not going to be able to find a lot of value, as it looks like Terra Surge is going to be popped here from Headrammer, taking a lot of damage. But Blank and Jaffner are going to be the next to fall. Gato still alive. Going to be the only support left, but Dan is able to shut that down. It's just the Tracer left from the side of Shu's production crew, and Bowsy's next to fall. Dan still alive, 1 HP, taken off of the board here, and in an overtime situation, they're going to be able to get touches, and a rush is still available from Hippie if they so choose to use it, but it's just Hippie left alive, not going to use that rush, and the cap is going to come through in an overtime situation, a time refresh for Aura Fury, and a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, great job there from Aura Fury of just getting that early kill onto Hippie, right? As soon as that happened, it was going to be significantly harder just because you didn't have the Kitsune Rush, right? Kitsune Rush is like a free... It's like a free, we're just more powerful now ultimate. All you gotta do is throw it in the vicinity of people, and all of a sudden the entire enemy team is more powerful now. Aura Fury coming up on quite a few ultimates here in this fight. Is the Kitsune Rush from Shu's production crew going to be enough to try and deny a lot of this is the question.
Overclock going to be available for Jaffner. There's the rush going to come through here. Is Hippie going to be the first to fall? Gato gets traded out, making it a 4v4 situation. Immortality Field has been utilized, but ACS next to fall. So it looks like the rush was enough to hold for the time being. And so Aura Fury didn't actually pop anything, so they're going to be coming up on a lot of ults, and Shu's production crew don't really have a lot of answers. Dan is going to be back over to that Emre off of the Tracer. With 30 seconds left on the clock and that Zenyatta still alive, I don't know if I love that swap. I think you kind of need to put a little bit of pressure But we'll have to find out here. And this next fight will be getting underway. Whoa, nice nade there. Try to put out Jaffner. Not going to be able to find the pick for the time being. Husky getting focused out. Going to have that Suzu already utilized. And Wicked in a little bit of an awkward angle. Blank is going to have the... Oh, a spear off the map is going to send Headrammer flying. That is going to be the go button for the side of Aura Fury. All of the momentum has shifted in their favor. Dan is able to get the trade onto Wicked, who did pop their ults as... whoa, they've actually popped both their DPS ults. They need to get kills now as Blank has been... forced to clean up the fight for the side of the Sojourn. Bob has been utilized. The window's still there, however, so it is going to be a lot of damage put onto the Bob. There it is. Blank has been shut down, however, who had the Transcendence. That's a devastating kill. Headrammer trying their absolute best to stabilize for the time being. There's a Terror Surge coming through from ACS. Not going to be able to find anything as Headrammer pops their own. Husky shuts down Jaffner. Blank is not yet respawned, and that's going to be a hold there for Shoes production crew. They didn't pop the Trans.
And that's incredibly unfortunate. You know, that's really all you can say. The Transcendence did not even get to go off right there. And you really would have liked to have that sustain, even at the moment that Blank, died on there. It would have been nice to have it just at that time to just extend the fight for 5 more seconds potentially. So really tough way to lose out that fight, but you still did get plenty of cart push, right? This is not going to be easy for Shoes Production Crew to get by any stretch of the imagination.
No, Havana is notorious for having that third point be almost impossible to cap. I mean, it's going to be difficult for Aura Fury to hold for sure into Shoes Production Crew, but I mean, it's definitely possible. We'll have to find out if they're going to stick to the same composition. Looks like they are for the time being, and Dan's going to start on the Tracer this time. We'll have to find out, of course, if the Tracer is going to be able to find as much value on the attack or on the defense as it, or no, on the attack as it did on the defense. Excuse me. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with me.
You got it, Mega. You're right on point.
It's a late night, and a lot of Overwatch today. So we'll have to find out, of course. 20 seconds on the clock before we get going into a Shoes production attack. They need to get to third point roughly in order to get the job done to put them up in a 2-1 situation. Is it doable? Is it possible? As Bowsy's going to start over the Wu Ying, I'm going to say it, a lot better of a choice.
Yeah, I like this here too. Yeah, especially if Husky or Dan happens to go back onto that Tracer. I really like the Tidal Blast onto the Tracer. It's like a super strong, especially into this greedy backline. But Dan said, I don't need to be Tracer. I can kill Zenyatta's as Emre.
Okay, I don't know why Blank decided to start walking into a wall there, but it is going to allow it to be a 4v5 situation. The Sojourn a little low, going to not be able to be taken down just yet, as they're going to be getting a lot of space here, a lot of damage, and right now Aura Fury don't really have anything to match it with. Jaffner going to be taken low. Husky going to be set up on the high ground there, going to be trying to scope out where that Sojourn is, really knows where they are, trying to finalize that kill, not able to find it just yet, and not going to be forced off the high ground, as this cart is still rolling. 3 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. They haven't really stalled all too much. Jaffner is just getting taken incredibly low. Wicked's able to get the kill onto Husky, however. Jaffner 1 HP, so is ACS. They're going to have to stabilize for the time being, as a Hippie going to go to that high ground. Going to have that TP automatically forced, and Wicked's off the board. A nice bait and switch there, as that nade is going to land onto that high ground and blow up Wicked's health bar, as a Headrammer taking a lot of damage. Going to have to stabilize for the time being. Jaffner hasn't really been able to find too much on that Sojourn. So now both these teams kind of stalling out for the time being. Blank a little low onto that Kiriko. There's a Dynamite, not going to be able to connect onto that Ana, who's trying their absolute best to stabilize. They're going to be dropping incredibly low, though, in this case. Oh my gosh, there's a shot from Husky onto Gato, and so now ACS doesn't have the support they desperately need in order to stabilize. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. Husky shuts down Blank as well. There's no supports. Override protocol from Dan. Going to do all but put the nail in the coffin. ACS shuts it down, sure, but it doesn't matter all too much as the rest of Aura Fury fall.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've actually seen a spinny spear from an Orisa actually get the final blow on somebody. So that is definitely an interesting way to see that fight go. The one positive you can take here if you're Aura Fury is that you managed to hold on to all your ultimates. You didn't really use much of anything. We could see a nano override protocol happen here. I don't think I've seen that particular combo happen before, but there's no reason why it wouldn't work incredibly well. So Shoes Production Crew gonna have to be almost picture perfect with their ults here if they want to try and do something.
Nano goes on to the override. There's the Terra Search, however, but Dan has already taken off the board. Not going to be able to find a second one, however, as Headhammer used that Terra Search to pull them onto the ground. And so now it's looking like this could be a fight win for the side of Shoes Production, despite the Nano and the override gunning online. So that's going to be even more push for the side of Shoes Production. They have 4 minutes on the clock, and they could go to the third point already.
Oh my goodness, they still have the Tidal Blast. They can definitely just give that to Headhammer when Aura Fury tries to push and just cap this point for free. Like that's all that has to happen, right? The Tidal Blast stops them from being able to walk forward, and Shoes Production could just cap this point.
Aura Fury still have 3 ults in the back pocket that they can definitely use. Jaffner on that Sojourn, having that, oh, there's the rush coming through from bottom right. There's the Bob to match it, however, and it's going to put a lot of damage there. Bob is going to be able to shut down Blank, but there goes the Bob. The Terra Surge still online there, and it's going to be popped, trying their absolute best to stabilize for the time being, but there's not going to be any value from it. Bowsy still has that Tidal Blast as well. The health bars are too low, and now it's just Gato left alive, who's going to be slain at the very end. 4 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock, and Aura Fury have to lock in order to make this even a competitive map.
Yeah, Shoes Production crew is absolutely rolling right now. Dan landing that kill onto Jaffner as well. ACS has swapped over to this Ramatra now. I would say probably their more preferred hero, and you can live a little bit longer, which I think is going to be incredibly necessary, right? That's what we were seeing on map 1 at least, right? It was the extra survivability of that Ramatra was allowing Aura Fury to be a little bit more competitive in those fights with Shoes.
Yeah, Shoes Production crew looking like a completely different beast on this map. Husky shutting down Wicked yet again. This hit scan is going absolutely nuclear. A lot of damage getting applied. There's the window online here for the side of Gato if they decide to use it. There it is, going to be popped. So is the overclock coming through. Blank is 1 HP. ACS taking a lot of damage, and there goes Dan. A nice kill from Jaffner there, trying to prove their value and their worth. It is going to stop Shoes Production in their tracks for the time being, trying their best to get out a lot of poke. I mean, this Wooing is going to be able to put out so much damage. There's a Terra Surge, but Gato gets traded out. Blank is able to get the kill onto Headhammer, so it's a 4v4 situation. The health bars of Aura Fury are so low, though. Look at how low those health bars are. ACS trying their absolute best to stabilize. They just have a Zenyatta, though. Wicked gonna go for a touch, gonna be burning for the time being as ACS off the board. There goes Wicked. Blank is next. And so now 4 ults for the side of Shoes Production crew, and there's nobody left alive for Aura Fury to touch.
There really is not. That final blow going on to Gato, and look at just the sheer damage coming through. That is an easy cap coming through from Shoes Production crew, going up 2-1 in this winner's final.
Yeah, and so now Aura Fury, a little bit of their backs are against the wall now, right? You've popped out the Kiri ban, you've taken them to a dive map. You could definitely try it again. Heavy will still be on that Kiriko, of course, but I mean, this definitely could still go your way. You could force it to a map 5, but you know, not going to have that Kiri ban online. You go to a dive map. I mean, what other dive maps are better? Like, you've already taken care of Nubani. I guess what you go to.
There isn't another choice.
For dive.
That's the plot twist.
Well, Havana's been utilized. Oh gosh, it's Flashpoint or push.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's no choice. You are so right. There's nothing. That's a problem for Aura Fury. What do you do now?
What they say in the Matrix, there is no spoon. You're just spending the space around the spoon.
Exactly. There's have you ever seen the Loki show? Have you ever seen Loki?
I have not.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a line from the main guy. His name is He Who Remains. And he goes, you think that you have free choice because you choose which path you walk down, but who do you think carved those paths, right? That's kind of what's happening right now with Aura Fury. The situation is in front of them. They don't really know what they can do if they're this, like, you know, you no matter where you go, I mean, I think it's just going to be a brawl mirror, and the Kiriko's still on the board. You've used the Malga ban.
Yep.
I don't know how Aura Fury are going to do this.
Yeah, I mean, your best bet is going to be like an Orisa ban, but you know, then you're forcing Headhammer to play like a Diva or a Malga, right? That's really like your 2 options that you essentially are going to have. And you don't necessarily want to ban out Emre because you're doing well on that. You know what I mean? You don't want to ban that out. And I don't know. You're stuck in a position where all the bans are things that you are also playing. So it's like, what do you ban?
You could ban out. Ash? Is it another DPS angle? No.
You
They're
could try
both
that.
playing double hit scan though. That's the problem. Like there's no flex DPS to see the light of day actually.
Yeah. And Husky plays Sojourn as well. We've just seen Husky play Ash because of the maps that have been picked, right? It's like their longer range maps, Numbani and Havana. Husky was playing Sojourn on Legion Tower. And so we're going to be going to Atlas. That is going to be the map pick, a Flashpoint map. Aura Fury has a real conundrum on their hands, is what I would call it, because it really is the situation where everything they ban, they also want to play. So it's like, where do they think they like straight up have an advantage, and where do they think that they might need some help and swapping to something different?
I'm really struggling. Maybe you take the Tracer off the board? That's my only thought process, because Dan, I mean, could go swap over to that Tracer if they need it. You're going to force the double hit scan if you do ban out the Tracer. I don't know if I even love that ban, though. It's going to be an Orisa ban, like you said, but then, I mean, Headrammer's just going to probably be on that Diva, and you're going to be running Ramatra. I mean, Shoes Production, look at the DPS or the supports. Do you just ban the Bap here and call it a day? That's what I'm thinking.
Part of me thinks that you ban the Emre because Dan can play the Emre, but it seems like Emre isn't what Dan wants to play. Yeah, and see, that's exactly what Shoes Production Crew is going to do. They're going to ban out the Emre.
Yeah, the Emre taken off the board there. Not going to be able to find any more override protocols for this map, as it is Atlas. The Orisa and Emre bans are there. We'll have to find out if there's any substitutions. But, I mean, Atlas Fury, they cannot lose another map. They need to win this one and then the next in order to keep their upper bracket dreams alive. Of course, if they do lose, it's not the end of the world. They will go to the lower bracket against Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts. So, not the end of the world. They've beaten them before. They can beat them again. But we'll have to find out here as we do go into our potential last map of the series of the night, I believe. I'm looking forward to this.
And I gotta be honest, I think these bans really are gonna favor Shoes Production Crew because Wicked on that Emre has been wicked, for lack of a better way to put it, so not having that available to you now, I think generally is going to favor the side of Shoes Production Crew overall, because that's just what we've seen from them so far. Like I said, Dan really good on the Emre, but Dan wants to play Tracer. Dan doesn't want to play Emre, right? Husky doesn't want to play Emre. Husky probably can also play Emre. It's a situation where they have gotten rid of the thing that was an irritating thorn in their side, and you have also done the same. And if Aura Fury is legitimately playing Roadhog right now, it's going to be tough because you're dealing with Malga.
I see Aura Fury on the Cat Bastion. Do they have the discipline to run it? No, they are not. They're going to... What is this composite? What are we doing? What is Aura Fury doing? Are they going to be damage boosting their soldier with a Mercy? Good lord. I don't know how this one's going to work out in the slightest. Not something that we see every single day. Blank does lose that connection for the time being as a soldier. Gonna be going over for a little bit of an off angle here, but Shoes Production Crew, I mean, should just theoretically evaporate this comp. I mean, Blank already dropping to 1 HP, gonna have to stabilize for the time being. A lot of damage getting put through, but the wall's good. Husky's taken down Gato already, and so that's a lot of the healing for the side of Aura Fury off of the board. They're gonna keep rotating. I mean, they have the speed from Bowsy, and there goes Blank as right now it's a 3v5 situation, and the Shoes Production Crew probably gonna be setting up on this objective first.
Yeah, it does definitely appear that they are going to be doing that. You got to keep Headrammer alive, though. Very important to keep the tank upright. Cap is going to come through for Shoes Production Crew. You're doing a really good job now of just... It was really the walls, right? Dan's walls were fantastic right there, and just catching players from Aura Fury out. I don't know who they're going to dive, and Blink is dead again.
You can't go Mercy. You just cannot go Mercy here. The walls are going to be able to shut down everything you want to dream of and do, and so Shoes Production, I mean, already in a 4v5 situation. Headram are going to use that overrun, try to look for somebody. A lot of health bars are low, I guess, from the side of Shoes, but they're going to get healed up right away. I mean, they're on the Curia Lucio backline that we all know and love, or not love and know, as, you might not be a fan of that composition that's been meta since 1962. But for the time being, Aura Fury, there goes the ACS. Jaffner's dead. I think that's just first point, actually.
It does certainly appear to be that way. You're just in an incredibly tough spot right now if you're Aura Fury because it is appearing, at least just watching it so far, that Emery might have been the grid equalizer, as they say, and Shoes Production Crew playing a really well put together composition right now. You can tell that like they play this comp, they know what they want to do with this comp, and it feels like Aura Fury is doing some experimentation right now.
Yeah, they seem bored. They seem to be doing picks out of desperation. I mean, a Hinder Nade, the freeze effect, Headrammer gets rid of Blank yet again. We got to get off this Mercy. I think the experiment has been going on for long enough. There goes Gato. It's a 2v5. All the people are still at full HP. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. There's the rest of Aura Fury to fall. And a team kill and a first cap for the side of Shoes Production. And they have all of the options and all of the plays under their belt.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Husky has been just an absolute menace on this cast. Husky's been a menace on basically everything the entire night. Who plays Widowmaker on Lijiang Tower, by the way? Like, I didn't say that at the time, but who does that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of player we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, you know who does that? Husky does that. High Noon comes through. There's a visor, but you know what does it do? I mean, ACS does find the kill onto Husky, and Jafter gets a kill on a Hippie, however. So this could be a start of something beautiful from Aura Fury. Blanket swapped over. There's a cage coming through from the side of Headrammer, trying to blow up everybody. Jafter taking off the board there. This ball is just a pin cushion for bullets, as Wicked able to get that trade. Blank is able to get the kill into Dan, so this could actually go either way. There is still a Malga left alive. The flip is going to come through, and the Malga is going to run away in terror like all 600-pound Samoans do.
Yeah, great job there from Headrammer to just get out and not feed right there. Very important because you do have the Kitsune and that Blizzard, and the point just got flipped for free.
Blank is taken off the board. There goes Wicked. I mean, you're not going to be able to do all too much. They're going to try to mirror the comp to the best of their ability, but I mean, you don't mirror something that Shoes Production Crew just runs out on, right? And so they're going to have all the advantage, 83% and counting. And Shoes, they might be, you know, I think a lot of the players on that team are old, and so they're trying to make it so they can get asleep for their bedtime, as they're going to be taking this to a 2-0 situation. One more flashpoint, and they win out the series.
Oh, and they have Blizzard available too. Oh, man. Blizzard is like such an irritating ult to deal with, especially with a composition like this. This is like a 5-man comp. So it's going to be, especially with how good Dan's wall placement has been, I expect this Blizzard's going to catch out at least 2 people.
Yeah, we'll have to find out, as right now, I mean, this does look completely dominant from the side of Shoes Production. This Blizzard could go absolutely massive from Dan. There's the wall. They're trying to look to maybe isolate Dan, but they're not going to be able to do so, as they just rotate around, actually, the other way. A little bit of health bars are low from Bowsy, but that's going to be a Blizzard onto the objective. Going to not be able to freeze out anybody, but ACS already off of the board. The wall has been utilized trying to get the rest of the players out, and Shoes Production going to be able to get that first cap. This Lucio from Blank, I was going to say has that beat online, but gets actually their head blown off from Hippie on the Kiriko, and that's going to be another reset for Aura Fury, and they're running out of those.
They are indeed 21% and counting already. The Deadeye and Cage basically going to be online. Aura Fury does have a sound barrier and that Blizzard. I think that's going to be the big key here. Bowsy needs to try and build up to this sound barrier as fast as he can.
Oh, Husky going to be taking off the high ground. There's the High Noon, looking for something. It does connect onto a couple of players in terms of skulls, and Wicked's going to be taken off of the board there. Beat comes out line from Blank, almost got its Ajax, but not going to be taken off the board in time. There's the Cage from Headrammer, going to be mirrored instantaneously. Blizzard's also used, and Headrammer's going to be taken down, but Bowsy and Dan are going to be able to find kills of their own. So now it's just a Malga left alive. Gato is taken off of the board, and ACS, despite everything that they're possibly able to do, not able to win out the fight, and now Aura Fury are broke. They have nothing in its last fight territory.
They got a Kitsune rush if they can make it to the point, but they're in a situation where you're stuck in a bad situation, quite frankly, because you got to deal with the 2 support ults for the other side.
Blank is dead, Wicked is dead, the rush from Gato didn't even come out, Hippie popped their rush, it's an overtime situation, there's only 2 members left alive from Aura Fury. This ball is going to be nothing but a pin cushion, as Jafner taken off the board. It's just the ball who's going to just be eating ammunition like it's their breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and Shoes Production Crew take it in a 3-1 victory, sending them to Grand Finals.
And in dominant fashion, nonetheless, right? This is more, I would say this map is more akin to what I've seen from Shoes Production Crew when I've casted them previously. When they're really firing on all cylinders, it's kind of crazy to witness because they're not necessarily running typical things, but you can just tell that they're playing together as a unit, and that's really the thing I like to see in these tournaments, right? Just everybody is playing together, everybody knows what they want to do, even if it's not necessarily like the meta composition per se.
Yeah, it is going to be Shoes Production winning that out in a pretty. It started off a little rough for them. Li Zhong went to all 3 rounds. They lose out on Numbani, but then from then on out, they completely swamped. Their defense, I think, was a little rough on Havana, but their attack made up for it tenfold. And then here on Atlas, I mean, they just looked completely unstoppable, right? They took that in honestly the quickest 3-0 I have seen in a while for Flashpoint. And so Shoes Production going out and full force, able to take Aura Fury down and send them to the lower bracket. And that is going to be our series done and dusted. But we are not done just yet. We are going to throw it to a quick break. When we get back, we'll have an interview from somebody from Shoes Production Crew. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
I'm not crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We have a little bit of a stacked interview here. We have with us Headrammer and Hippie from Shoes Production Crew. Fellas, how are you guys doing tonight?
Very good. I mean, obviously, it's always good winning your game. It's always a positive thing, and happy to be making our way to the grand finals.
Yeah. I mean, so my first question is actually going to be, were you surprised at all with how tough it was at first? Because it seemed like maps 1 and 2 were incredibly close. Obviously, losing map 2, but map 1 was also incredibly close, and it seemed to be, at least to me, a lot closer than I anticipated it being even before I was watching it. So how did it feel in the actual server?
I mean, it definitely felt like a big like kind of fight during the game. Maybe except for that last map, but like a lot of it was really just in one of those situations where, we knew going in they're a very good team, so we knew it wasn't going to be an easy thing, and we knew kind of a general things they kind of like to do, but experience is kind of a very different thing. All very good players on the team that make it difficult, but I think their style of playing we had to adapt to a little bit, because we're a team that kind of likes to do a lot of like off angling, having a tracer come in and flank, stuff like that, and we kind of found it a little difficult to do that. Like a lot of their pressure. One, they marked our tracer very well, but also they were hitting me me personally with like a lot of pressure, running like a lot of their double hit scan stuff. It was making it so that it took so long for things to happen. They were kind of overwhelming the front, so things got easier for us when we end up just like, yeah, screw it, we're better. We'll try to match that. And we have incredibly talented DPS players in Dan and Husky, and I mean, once we try mirroring that, things become a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did appear to be that way. And then, Hippie, this one's going to be for you, actually. How did you feel when the Kiriko got banned on map 2? I know you constantly say that you want to be released from Kiriko jail in some capacity. So were you like happy, or were you like, oh no, what am I going to do now?
I think it was a bit difficult because it was like on a map that my hero pool probably isn't like as strong on, and I had to play we played kind of a very unorthodox backline. I think going forward, I know what would be better to do if like the Kira gets banned on any form of dive map. That'd probably just be better for the team overall. But I could definitely see why teams actually do want to ban my Kiri.
He's just too good.
I'm a menace on the angles.
The man brought out the protractor and figured out the optimal angle.
No, I completely agree with you. I do think that you looked incredibly strong on that Kiriko. But before I do let you guys shout out whoever you want to, as per tradition around here, I do want to ask, you have now sent Aura Fury to that lower bracket now to face off against Unwoke, Yaoi, and Enthusiast. So I do want to ask you guys lost to Unwoke in the regular season. So I do want to ask, which of those two teams do you think you'll be going up against in those grand finals? And if it is Unwoke, are you guys a little nervous going into that one? Or do you guys think it'll just be business as usual?
I think realistically, like I lean the direction of saying I think Unwoke will win it. They have been having problems a little bit with their schedule, in recent history. Now, as long as like they don't have any issues with that, I think Unwoke will come out of it. But I think Aura Fury is a team that because of the style they play, can really, if you're not fully prepared for it, can really take you off guard. I think it will be like a longer series, but I think Unwoke will come out on top of it. And it is something I welcome, honestly, in the grand finals because, they did beat us in the mid-season, but, we beat them in the regular season. So we're currently 1-1 right now in our best of 3 for gangs. So, we want to see, have our tiebreaker of who ultimately comes out on top. And I know they put in a lot of work, so I think they deserve to be there in the grand finals.
Yeah.
And also, I'm really good friends with that entire team. So, anytime you get to, play against your friends, it's always a fun thing.
Yeah, I do want to see, UIE as well, mainly because in the whole master tier, it's this storyline set of the great grand final, but then you also have Aura Fury, who's kind of just been this upset team, the Cinderella story a bit too. So I wouldn't be too upset seeing Aura Fury again, as well. I mean, they definitely put up a decent fight. It'd be fun to play them again. One of the few teams I think in this bracket that definitely this tier that definitely has put up more of the fight than our previous series. And then UIE, I just kind of want to even the score. We're 1-1 with each other, and our last series was we got 3-0'd really hard. So I want to take that win over them, win grand finals, and
I also hope that series is just close. If you get our eight map banger.
All right, buddy. Let's not collapse our I want to call something out here. I was sent a clip of our team being called old on stream. Or sorry, Unk, I think is the way it's phrased. So like I guess adding on to that, we don't want our team's like cholesterol levels or like our heart rates to give out from old age. So maybe we shouldn't go to map 8.
You mean only you?
Only you. Our team's average age is probably the oldest average age in this team.
Shadow, why did you say that? That's so
Mega,
crazy.
don't worry. No, you're not getting away from that one. Not getting away from that one, Mega.
No. Thank you guys so much for the interview, though. Before we do let you go, of course, we are going to let you guys shout out anybody you want to. So, of course, who do you guys want to shout out?
I mean, shout out to my backline for, again, enabling my feeding. It makes it a lot more fun to play that way. And just freaking shout out to my DPS line for just making miracles constantly happen. There's like, I'm feeling this one. I'm gonna play this character, and then just like suddenly kill 3 people on Widow, or you have my Tracer player go over to Emre and just be the better Emre player. People are insane. Shout out to Hippie's wife.
That's an important one right there. That's also mine. Shout out my wife. Give me the strength and definitely
and for me to take it away.
Definitely wants me to win as fast as possible so I can go tend her after the series.
He's on a leash, let me tell you.
And then of course, shout out the whole team. I think we're really good at like bringing ourselves up, and like if one of us is like tilting, we try to help them out, let them level out, and generally just have a good time. I think when we were like loading into like every map, I'm pretty sure all of us were like laughing because someone said some silly joke or whatever. Even after like losing the new Bonnie, we're just having a good time.
Yeah. Well, I do thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for the incredible series to watch. Looking forward to watching you guys in grand finals go up against whoever wins in the lower bracket, and go celebrate with your team.
Oh, all right. We'll be watching this back later once the missus goes to bed and the fun can real start.
Yeah, you don't gotta do that.
Well, I don't know about that.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, that was Headrammer and Hippie. We know them pretty well at this point. We're constantly working with them, you and I. And yeah, that was a crazy winners finals there for the Masters tier. And, let's get a look at that bracket one more time just so we can really see what's going on here. You can see it right down there on the bottom of the screen. Unwoke Yaoi Enthusiast is just awaiting Aura Fury. So it is going to be between those two teams for who is going to have the opportunity to play Shoes Production Crew in that grand finals for what is the biggest bracket we have. I mean, man, look at what we had to do to get here.
Yeah, I mean, Shoes Production have been going through a sweep of this upper bracket. Aura Fury have been the upset machine, but Shoes finally gonna shut them down in this last round of the winners bracket, going into grand finals. So they're gonna be awaiting either Unwoke Yaoi or Aura Fury. Either of those will be facing off against them to finalize the NA Masters tier. This has been a banger of a series, though.
Oh, yes, absolutely agreed. This wasn't our only game today either. Unlimited beating 7Ds in a 3-0 fashion earlier today in that EU side of the bracket. And then, of course, our game right there, Shoes Production Crew over Aura Fury. We are going to be having some games tomorrow as well. So, as per usual, keep those notifications turned on, keep your eyes peeled, all that good stuff, because, playoffs are still happening. We should be finishing up in the next week. Those grand finals should be starting to get scheduled, and those will definitely be worth the watch.
Yeah, and that is going to be it for us here at the desk today for CGL. I'd like to say thank you all for watching. Thank you to Honeybee and Alua for being our producer and observer behind the scenes. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. Thank you to all for watching, and thank you for the teams for playing today. Very awesome watch to see everybody kind of just swag out as best as they can in this NA Masters tier. It's been awesome to cast with you again, Shadowfang. I think we've been on a lot of casts together in the last couple of last couple of days, last couple of weeks. So, we're definitely finding our flow with each other, and I really do appreciate that. But that is going to be it for us. Be sure to fix your posture, drink some water, and get some good rest. Be sure to tell somebody that you love them. Thank you all for watching. We'll catch you guys next time.
Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours.
Feel my heart, it's beat tight. All my body's breathing, it's just you and me. Feel my heart, it's beat tight. All my body's breathing, it's just you and me. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. I'm so